Right now, inside your body, thousands of cells are copying themselves, and every single copy is a tiny bit worse than the one before it. This has been happening since the day you were born. You only started noticing a few years ago. Here's a number that should surprise you. Your cells can only copy themselves so many times, somewhere between 50 and 70 times, before they simply stop. Scientists call this the Hayflick limit. It's not a guess or a metaphor. It's a built-in counter, ticking inside almost every cell in your body, right now. And that counter doesn't run at the same speed everywhere. Skin cells and immune cells burn through their copies quickly, while the neurons in your brain barely divide at all. Aging isn't one single event, like a switch flipping. It's the slow result of 4 separate systems inside you, quietly breaking down at the same time. 2 of them you can barely influence. 2 of them respond directly to your daily habits. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which is which. Today, we're going inside your body to see exactly what they are. Every time one of your cells divides, it has to copy its entire genetic blueprint, your DNA. Think of your DNA like a shoelace. At the very tip, there's a small plastic cap that stops it from fraying. In your cells, that cap is called a telomere. Here's what that looks like. Every time the copying machinery runs, it can't quite reach the very end of the strand. A tiny sliver of that cap gets left behind uncopied. Once more with feeling. Every single division, the cap gets a little shorter. Do this 50, 60, 70 times, and the cap runs out completely. Once the telomere is gone, the cell can no longer safely copy itself. It's not that your DNA runs out of room, it's that the tip protecting it wears down, like a pencil sharpened one too many times. Chronic stress and smoking speed this up dramatically. Some studies find heavy smokers carry telomeres that look nearly a decade older than their actual age. When a cell's telomeres get too short, it doesn't usually just die. Something stranger happens. It goes into a retirement it never asked for. Scientists call these senescent cells. Most people call them zombie cells. A zombie cell stops dividing, but it refuses to disappear. It just sits there, in your skin, your joints, your organs, and it starts leaking. Not blood. Inflammatory signals. Small red distress flares that seep into the tissue around it. One zombie cell is harmless, but by the time you're in your 60s, they can make up a meaningful share of the cells in some tissues. Each one is a tiny, permanent alarm bell that never turns off, quietly inflaming everything around it. In your joints specifically, these zombie cells release enzymes that break down cartilage. One reason osteoarthritis becomes so much more common after 50. Look at this. Underneath your skin is a scaffolding made of a protein called collagen. The beams and cables that keep your skin taut, your joints cushioned, your blood vessels flexible. In your 20s, your body replaces this scaffolding constantly, tearing down old beams and building new ones. But starting around age 25, that construction crew starts working a little slower every year. Collagen production drops by roughly 1% annually. Meanwhile, the old beams keep taking damage. Sunlight is one of the biggest wrecking balls, breaking collagen down faster than your body can rebuild it. Less scaffolding means skin sags, wrinkles form, joints stiffen. Nothing new appears. The crew rebuilding you's simply clocking out a little earlier, every single day. Vitamin C plays a specific role here too. Without it, the construction crew literally cannot weld new collagen strands together, which is why severe deficiency causes wounds to stop healing at all. Inside nearly every one of your cells are tiny power plants called mitochondria. Their job is to burn fuel from your food and turn it into usable energy for the cell. But like any power plant, they produce exhaust, unstable molecules called free radicals. In a young cell, cleanup crews neutralize this exhaust almost as fast as it's made. As you age, the power plants themselves wear down, less efficient, producing more exhaust and less energy. The cleanup crews slow down too. The smoke builds up faster than it's cleared. damaging the very DNA and proteins around it. Muscle tissue is hit particularly hard, since muscle cells depend on mitochondria more than almost any other cell in your body. Part of why strength and stamina both decline with age. By your 70s, some studies estimate mitochondrial energy output has dropped by nearly half compared to your 20s. Less energy, more damage. That's why fatigue creeps in and why it becomes measurably harder for your body to repair itself as the decades go on. Here's the uncomfortable truth about all four of these processes, the one your body has been hiding from you. None of them start when you turn 50 or 60, or when your hair starts graying. Telomeres are already shortening in your 20s. Collagen production already starts slowing at 25. Zombie cells are already accumulating in your 30s. Aging isn't a cliff you fall off later in life. It's a slope you've been walking down since childhood, one you simply couldn't feel yet. By the time you notice the signs, the stiffness, the slower healing, the wrinkle that doesn't smooth back out, the damage underneath has been quietly compounding for decades. What you're seeing in the mirror isn't the beginning of aging. It's the visible tip of something that started 30 years earlier. Think of it like compound interest running in reverse. A tiny, invisible loss each year does almost nothing on its own. But multiplied across 3, 4, 5 decades, those tiny losses stack into something you can finally see in the mirror. So what can you actually do today to influence a process that's been running quietly since childhood? The single biggest lever is exercise, specifically the kind that raises your heart rate. Regular aerobic exercise triggers your cells to build brand new mitochondria, literally adding more power plants. Studies also link consistent exercise to longer telomeres, compared with a sedentary lifestyle at the same age. Even a brisk 20-minute walk, most days of the week, is enough to measurably shift these markers over time. Sleep is when your body does most of its repair work, clearing out damaged proteins and giving your immune system the window it needs to help clear out some of those zombie cells before they build up. Adults who consistently sleep less than 6 hours a night show faster telomere shortening than those who get 7 to 9. Protecting your skin from UV light is one of the most direct interventions available. Sunscreen doesn't just prevent burns, it measurably slows the rate your collagen scaffolding breaks down. And a diet lower in processed sugar reduces the low-grade inflammation that zombie cells feed on and amplify, starving the alarm bells instead of feeding them. Foods rich in antioxidants also help mop up the extra exhaust leaking from tired mitochondria. None of these four processes will ever stop completely. That's not how biology works. But every one of them responds to what you do today, this week, this year. Every one of these four processes is running inside you right now, whether you feel it or not. You can't stop the copy machine, but you can control how fast it runs and how well it's maintained. So here's the question. Right now, some of your cells are photocopies of photocopies. What's one thing you're doing today to slow the copier down? This video is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice.